So how do you keep your company nimble as you grow? That's the topic for today's Founder Friday. If you work at a startup or at a small company, you may find that you become bogged with just operational overhead. And that's code word for just shit that just takes up your time you don't really need to be doing. So how do you stay nimble? How do you stay responsive to people? And that's important because in today's day, things change so quickly that if you're not able to listen to your customers, you're not able to change your product fast enough, you could be totally overrun by another company that is able to do that. So the first secret to that I kind of just mentioned was listen to your customers. Create feedback loops so that you can get what your customers are saying, what they're asking for, and incorporate them into your process, whether it's into the product development flow or into what your management or your founders or you are actually learning about. And there's many ways to do that. You can use surveying tools, net promoter score stuff like Qualaroo or Promoter.io. You can just survey people using type forms, sending out emails and stuff like that. If you have a support team, definitely make sure that you are talking to them often about what your users are asking you about. And that's important. You don't have to necessarily do everything that your users are asking you for, but you want to at least be aware of what kind of problems they're running into. Don't be dogmatic about your assumptions. That's a really important one. A lot of companies are really dogmatic about what they think is important and what they are unwilling to change. And the reality is that if you're a startup and you haven't found product market fit, it doesn't really matter what you believe is the right thing to do, because it may not be the right thing. There could be something that you believe that is preventing you actually from being really accepted. An example of this is I talked to somebody who runs a dating app the other day, and she was telling me how it's important for people on the dating app to find really quality connections, and it's actually better if someone takes longer to make a connection on their app. And it may be true that quality is important, but you still probably want to get someone to have a connection quickly, because if you don't have people actually using your product and doing the core thing in your product as quickly as possible, you are unlikely to keep them around. But that's a topic for another Founder Friday. So yeah, listen to your users, don't be dogmatic, and try to eliminate communications overhead. That means anytime there's just individuals or like meetings with part of the company, you need to make sure that everyone else can be involved, whether that's making it available to everyone else or just having everyone meet together as often as possible so that everyone else is on the same page. At a certain size though, like once you get to more than 8 people, communication starts being a problem, and you have to start looking into tools like using Slack or like using an internal blog to make sure that people are actually communicating all the information that they have to communicate. The final advice I'd have on being nimble, staying nimble as you grow, is keep costs low. Really be very diligent about what you are signing up for, what expenses you are building up. Especially if you're a startup and you're burning cash, you want to have as long of a runway as possible. So look into your expenses, set budgets, keep the costs as low as possible for as long as possible, and that'll give you a lot more options as you grow the company. So those are a few tips for this Founder Friday. Remember, if you think these videos are useful, subscribe to the channel. Hit like below, hit that little thumbs up. I would really love that. And post a question in the comments for any topic that you'd like me to address for an upcoming Founder Friday. Anything that might be useful for you or your team. Thank you guys for listening.